What happened to the court artist next? What happened to artists who earlier painted miniatures? How did the peasant in Indian courts react to the new traditions of imperial art? Next, we can see different trend in different courts. Next, in Mysore, Tipu Sultan not only fought the British on the battlefield but also resisted in the culture traditions associated with them. Next, he continued to encourage local traditions and had the walls of his palace at covered with mural paintings done by local artists. Picture 10 show you one of these. This painting celebrates the famous Battle of Polular of 1780, in which Tipu and Hyder defeated in the English troops. Next, in the court of Murshidabad, we see a different trend here. After defeating Sirajuddaulah and British had successfully installed their puppet Nawabs on the throne. First Mir Jafar and their Miz Qasim. The court at Murshidabad encouraged local miniature artists to absorb the tastes and artistic style of the British. Next, you can see this in picture 22. This is a picture of an ID processions painted by a court painter in the late 18th century. Notice how local mature artists in the Murshidabad began adopting elements of the European realism. Next, they use perspective vision, creative a sense of distance between objects that are near and those at a distance. They use light and shade to make the figure look like and real. Next, with the establishment or British power, many of the local courts lost their influence and the wealth. They could no longer support painters and pay them to paint for the court. How could the artist earn a living? Many of them turned to the British. Next, at the same time, British officials who found the world in the colonized different from that back home wanted image through which they could understand India, remember their life in India, and depreciate India to the Western world. So we find local painters producing a vast number of images of local plants and animal historical buildings and monuments, festivals and processions, trade and crafts, caste and communities. Their pictures eagerly collected by the East India Company official came to be known as company paintings. Next, the British conquest of territories and takeover of kingdoms, introduction of new laws and administrative institutions, change in the life of peasants and tribals, educational change in the 19th century, debates regarding the conditions of women, challenge to the caste system, social and religious reform, the revolt of 1857 and its aftermath, the decline of crafts and growth of industries. On the basis of what you have read about these issues, do you think Indians were discontented with British rule? If so, how were different groups and classes decided? Next, the emergency of nationalism. The above mentioned developments led the people to ask a crucial question: what is the country of India and for whom is it meant? The answer that gradually emerged was India was the people of India, all the people, irrespective of class, color, caste, creed, language, or gender, and the country, its resources and systems were meant for all the them. With the answer came the awareness that the British were exercising control over the resources of India and the lives of its people, and until this control was ended, India could not be for Indians. Next, this consciousness began to be clearly stated by the political associations formed after 1850, especially those that came into being in the 1870s and 1880s. Most of these were led by English educated professionals such as lawyers. The more important ones were the Pune Sabha and Indian Association, the Madras Mahajan Sabha and Bombay Presidency Association, and of course the Indian National Congress. Next, note the name Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, the literal meaning in the of all of people, sana all zinc of the people. So many of these associations functioned in specific parts of the country. Their goals were stated as the goal of all the people of India, not those of any one region, community, or class. They worked with the idea that the people should be sovereign. A modern conscience and a key features and nationalism. In other words, they believed that the Indian people should be empowered to take discussions regarding their affairs. Next, the disqualifications with British rule interested in the 1870 and 1880s. The Arms Act was passed in 1878, dissolving Indians from possessing arms. In the same year, the Vernacular Press Act in the enacted in an effort to silence those who were critical of his government. The act allowed of government to confiscate and the access of newspapers, including their printing presses, if the newspaper published anything that was found objectionable. In 1883, there was a furor hour or attempt by the government of introduce the Ilbert Bill. In the bill provided for the trial of British of European persons by Indians and sought equality between British and Indian judges in the country. But while white oppositions forced the government to withdraw the bill, Indians were urged in the event highlighted the radical attitudes of the British in India. Next, the need for an all India organization of educated Indians had been felt since 1880, but the Ilbert Bill controversy dependent these desires. The Indian National Congress was established when 72 delegates from all over country met at Bombay in December 1885. The early leadership, Dada Bhai Nauroji Mehta and Tibeti VC Chatterjee and others, some candidates, among other was largely from Bombay and Calcutta. Nauroji, businessman and publicist, settled in London and for time member of the British Parliament, guided the younger nationalist, a retired British official AO, whom also played a part in bringing Indian from the various regions together.